Okay, so last texture. This time we're going to do fabric in this video. So I'm going to give you all an image of a piece of fabric that I've taken a picture of. And here is the actual fabric that I just took a picture of and printed it out. And I'll have it in paper form for you. And then also it'll be in Schoology if you need to look at it through there. Okay, so with fabric, again, I'm always going to start sketching with my willow. All right, and see how my sketchbook is vertical? Because this is a tall picture, tall image, it's a tall thing. So when we look at our fabric, there's places of really, really dark, light, dark, light. And then I know it doesn't look that great on this printout. Hopefully yours will be better, but there's gonna be like areas of like highlights, places that we're gonna make pop out a little bit more. This is really dark, and then look at how it gets lighter gray going up. There's little wrinkles and creases that we're gonna pay attention to. Looking at this shape of these lines and what these values are creating. These are all different shapes. Like this dark value is its own shape. And then this right here, this red, is its own shape. So if we just think of those as shapes, it'll help us draw this, all right? So this may take up a large portion of your sketchbook paper. I'm gonna try and get this to where both are here in the screen. All right, so again, I'm gonna start with my willow and I'm gonna pay attention to these shapes. So over here, this is like the table and there's a canvas back here. So here's gonna be like the edge of my fabric. All right, we can kind of start there. I'm actually gonna start here in the middle. That's what I'm gonna start with, that shape down here. And so yeah, like right now I'm using my willow and I'm drawing these light lines. So this line right here is actually this over here. So now I'm going to create this darker shape. I think the hardest part about fabric is the actual like drawing of it and sketching of it. So see how I created this shape for that darker value. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fill it in so that it tells me that that was a darker value, so I don't get confused in a minute. This one too, it's kind of like this weird triangle. Maybe now I'll come down here where the edge is going to be, and then see how I'm using my finger to kind of help show you where I am. This area, and that's going to go all the way up. But it gets lighter, that'll happen later. This line that I drew just here was kind of like this one right here. Then this area right here, I'm going to come in and start darkening it. And see how I use my whole side of my willow to kind of start putting that in and getting that a little bit darker. And then I have this shape that I'm leaving blank right now, right here. This I feel like needs to be a little bit bigger over here. I need to make it bigger and bring it up. All right, so now I've done this, and then I'm going to leave this area blank, and then I'm going to put in this fold, or this curve, this line. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space. It kind of goes off my page. And then I kind of start to fill in this area where that shadow is hitting. And it goes light, and then it goes dark again. So I left it light and then it went dark. So I'm here, I'm like light, dark, and then back to light. And I'll just leave it like that. I'm gonna clean this up down here. And then this is pretty much blank down here because it's just like a lighter gray down here. This area here is going to be a little bit bigger, which is right here, but we'll just kind of erase that a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm sure some of you are still drawing. There's this shape right here that I want to get. Maybe after I put willow in, then I soften it with my finger. So, we use willow to put down where we see dark values. So now what I'm doing is I'm kind of coming through and even darkening some of my areas with willow, just to tell myself, okay, that needs to be darker than other places with willow. Kind of going over that a little bit. So the thing is with these folds is, we don't want them to look like stripes. And so it's going to be kind of tricky to get them to not look like stripes. So this value here needs to kind of blend. It'll kind of be like a little value scale, but it'll blend. It'll start dark, and then it'll get lighter to this curve here, and then it gets dark. So we need to get this to gradually get lighter. Okay, I know here on our picture, it does look like a pretty drastic line, but we're going to try to soften that a little bit. Okay, so where should we start? So let's go ahead and just start with this one. So see how I'm using my willow, and I'm actually going to bring it out a little bit more. I could even pull this willow all the way to that next dark area. But see how my willow is a little bit lighter than it was over here? So that's really important, okay? And then what I'm going to do is use my finger and see how my finger is moving. It's kind of like as if it was like curving or actually touching that fabric. Curving or folding with that fabric. Okay, so see that? And then since that value is pretty dark, I'm going to use my 6B. So the thing is, this is a big shape, right? And it's going to be super tempting to go up, to go up and down. Okay, it's going to be so tempting to do that, but you don't want to go up and down. I know it's a vertical thing, but it's folding or curving this way. So we want our pencil to go that way when we're shading it in. So it's going to take some time. This one's going to take much more time than the other ones because you're going to layer this to get it nice and dark. Not press hard, because remember, pressing hard ruins the paper, your pencil, everything. So I'm gonna probably work faster than you should be working so that I can get this in. So I'm going up and my strokes are close together. And I'm darkening this area right here. I'm using kind of like the side of my pencil. I'm not using the tip or the point, it's always the side. So I'm trying to get it nice and dark, so I'm layering it. And then this is kind of like, these are like little, well, they're not little, but they're like big shapes of like value scales. So I'm honestly just trying to soften this middle area a little bit with my 6B because it's going to have to blend over here to the left to get lighter. Maybe I'll do something like this to kind of clean up that edge. But be careful. And then after I get it in, and see how I'm softening it and I'm pulling it to the left. It's like a value scale, this whole thing. I'm trying to get it to look like it's curving. It's just like a sphere, but it's just a different shape. With this tall shape that I'm trying to get it to look like it's folding or curving, right? And then, I'm always wanting to look back at my reference. It gets a little bit thinner up here at the top. I probably got it a little bit too wide, but that's okay. I can come back in with my eraser and thin it out a little bit. And then always after you erase, you need to kind of soften that back. Now I'm going to use my 2B to maybe make more of a medium value, a little bit cleaner, instead of just willow, but you could just leave it willow. It just kind of depends where you're at. So this, it's light, this is dark. And so now I'm feeling like I need to use my eraser, pencil top, your kneaded eraser. I'm going to soften this back a little bit. I need, and then see how I'm using my eraser to kind of just soften it here in the middle value area. Just a little bit, because I don't want it to go all the way away. I do still want some value. But I definitely need a lighter area. And now I know I need more contrast, meaning I know I need to make this dark value much darker. We want our dark values darker, so I'm going to take my time and move that up. This is a big shape. I'm also kind of softening this right here. I don't want it to be like a hard line. I may even bring some willow down like that. Kind of get that a little bit, this area. I'm going to move to this little triangle thingy and like this shape. It's really dark in here. So I'm going to use my 6B. I'm going to darken that shape. So, again, with my videos, I'm just going to keep moving forward. I know some of you are still probably on a whole other area, but I'm just going to keep moving forward and talking. Hopefully you're listening. Okay, now there's this weird area with these little crinkles. There's this weird lightness here that I didn't sketch in. So I like to sketch with my willow, these little creases or ripples. There we go, now it's there. Now I need to come in and clean up that. I guess I'm going to have to thin out this area. And sometimes with fabric, the values are so subtle You know, sometimes you can't really see. Well, hopefully the pictures I give you, you'll be able to see this stuff really well. So usually with little crinkles and creases, it's like I have to darken it a little bit. This shape, it's weird. Let me come back with my finger to kind of soften it a little bit and blend it. And then in a second, I'll use my eraser to kind of bring out the lighter areas of these little. So it's kind of like you darken these little creases to be able to see them. But then sometimes you need to erase. Around them to bring out, to accentuate the little wrinkle. Because wherever it's dark, there's usually light. So now I'm quickly putting in this dark shape right here. All of this is just shapes. It's just shapes of dark and light. That's all it is. If you just think of it like that. Try not to think of it as like cloth or fabric. That's a really weird idea. And down here, I'm going to kind of bring my willow like this. And you're probably like, you're making it darker than it needs to be, Miss Norton. And it's like, well, yeah, sometimes you have to make it darker, but that's why then you're able to then pull it away. It's okay. You're always able to erase and take away. It's a good thing. I'm kind of bringing this down. And this little edge right here, it's super hard to see, but I'm going to like exaggerate that value. So I put willow, and then I'm going to come in with my eraser. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing. Come in with my eraser and then pull it back a little bit and soften it. I'm going to use my 2B. Kind of add a little bit here to make it try to get like it's curving a little bit. And back up here, just kind of looking these shapes. The thing about fabric is it's a really good thing to practice and do because it's kind of like we'll use these skills when we shade in a portrait. Because there's all these soft, curving areas. And that's the same thing that happens with our portraits. Probably needs to come down a little bit and re-looking at that shape. And again, I know you're looking at this video or listening to this video, but always, more importantly, is looking at your reference that I've given you. And I'm over here. I don't know if you can see it on my video, but this is kind of like a weird medium value. I'm going to soften this a little bit more. Okay, let's go back over to here. Where I feel like working. So, you know, there's like a little fold here and then another shape. So these have to be two different things happening softening. Maybe I'll make this like a light gray. But then this is like pulling, it's like folding here. So I'm going to use my willow to like kind of curve it a little bit. And then when I blend it, my finger kind of also curving. But then I'm going to use my 6B to kind of, I'm trying to like curve it. See how I'm using my pencil and it's close together. I'm kind of going up, trying to get these two shapes. And it gets a little bit thinner. I'm going to use my finger. Now what you can do, here's my table line, but if you have like a lighter area here, and then you don't want this outline usually, then we need to create a background. So what I can do then, it's kind of what we did for the glass. You can just literally put willow back here, and then once you put it up against that edge, now that gray that we just created is meeting with this, so now you have this nice edge instead of that outline that we don't really want. I need to come back and looking at the shape of this line. This a little bit darker. I'm going to just use my 2B. So you want to make sure your light areas or your highlight areas are light, but then you know they're always blending into that medium gray area and softening. It's the trickiest part, really, is going from that light area to that medium gray. That's the hardest part. Sometimes you just need like a light dusting of willow. That's enough sometimes. This needs to get a little bit lighter. But now I have that line, so I want to like add a little bit. It's tricky because I can't really blow all these eraser shavings away. They're all over the place. I'm going to bring this up. I'm looking at that shape. Maybe it needs to be a little bit thicker. Okay, so let's go back to over here. It's really dark over here. So I'm using my 6B. And again, I'm kind of going side to side. You may have to sharpen your pencil several times during this one. We're going to be using a lot, actually. And if you put stuff down and then it doesn't blend, well, it's because you didn't put enough down. It means you didn't put enough layers. You can't press hard. You have to layer it to get it to move. Maybe I want to use a little bit more willow to get more of a medium gray. Remember how to hold your pencil. looking at that shape over here, how it's nice and dark. I'm looking at how big that shape is. And then I need to come back and kind of clean that up, that edge here. There's a little bit of value here that's kind of coming down. Weird crease, but now I'm just getting super. I got I'm bored up there, so I moved on somewhere else. I guess I should stay up here for you guys. And this little guy. And then you're probably going to have some extra sketchbook space. That's no big deal. No worries. Trying to get these folds to look like they're curving. They're going from dark to medium to light, dark to medium to light. They're like little value scales. I've said it 100 times, I think. They're just big shapes. And basically, this is just more practice, how to use this charcoal and how to get it to blend, how to use your erasers, how to use your pencils. But then after this, then we're going to move on to the still life, where you're going to have all these objects. So see how now I'm coming back and I'm really darkening this area because I want it definitely to be pushed more than, you know, what I just put down right here. Contrast is super important. I've said it a lot. Push this some more. This area can get much darker. I just take some time. Weird, like, curve there. I sent out these little lines that I made earlier. Kind of thick. This may be the hardest one that you do. Well, maybe it's the easiest. I don't know. This is definitely the more challenging one for me to teach. I will say that. It's just a tough thing to teach. I definitely enjoy this one the most, though. Like actually drawing fabric, I enjoy it the most. But it is challenging to teach. And hopefully this is making sense. Now I'm just coming through and just kind of finding things and cleaning things up because personally it's nowhere near being done. But and make sure my highlighted areas are nice spots. See how I come back over with the eraser and how it makes a difference? And you come back through and then it just pops a little bit more. All right, but I'm going to stop. That's about 30 minutes. You guys are probably nowhere near being done. That is fabric.